So like kind of towards the end, we're gonna just give our little takes. We each have like little just like a little like tidbit that we want to like talk about. Something that's kind of been on our minds like throughout the week. I'll start first with LaMelo Ball. I think he's people are finally taking him seriously. I think he's going to be like a top 3 pick in the draft, and I feel like that's crazy because people were making fun of him last year and just like calling him a joke and like making fun of that whole family, and now like he's balling out against professionals overseas in Australia, and like he's the best player in that league. I just feel like he's developing as such like a great player, and he loves to pass, and I just really enjoy like guys who like to share the rock. I know he has like a bad rep of taking bad shots, but if you watch him now, he's just like so fluid, and he just really knows basketball. On top of that, I also want to talk about the NCAA's new rules and regulations of players taking advantage of their likeliness. I think that this is like huge. This is one of the biggest deals in this like industry. I think it's strongly influenced by LeVar Ball, which is actually really crazy. Him and his family have filed multiple complaints with the NCAA concerning his kids, whether it be Lonzo, like Jello, or LaMelo. I know there was like individual cases with each one in the NCAA. So like he's been on them, and he literally made a league to counter the college basketball. Like I think people didn't really like understand how big of that like a deal that is, but people don't just like make basketball leagues. Like this was like a whole like ordeal, and like it failed, but really like did it. Because the NCAA did make these rules like just a year after he introduced his league, and like all these like, and I feel like players finally start to realize like the capabilities of their likeliness, and I feel like he was on like the forefront of this whole movement, and I know he doesn't get any respect when it comes to like this topic, but I feel like he's just like pestered and annoyed the NCAA and kind of brought things to light a little more. I just feel like it's just taking a big movement.
That was a pretty hot take, Tony.
Yeah.
I'll give my take now. It might anger some of my UT friends. They might stop talking to me for like a few weeks, but I gotta say what I gotta say. I feel like Texas football needs to move on from Sam Ellinger. He just isn't good enough. He won't lead us to where we want to be. He won't lead us to beat the better teams, the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Ohio States of the world. I feel like he's a glorified running back. A lot of people say this, but a glorified fullback even. He's just a big guy who just trucks everyone, and his passing game isn't there. As we saw in the pass game in TCU, he had 4 pretty bad interceptions.
People figured him out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
people figured him out.
And I feel like when he's looking at his receivers, he looks at the first option. If that's not there, he just runs. And a lot of the better defenses easily can read this. They can figure this out, play against this. And a lot of people say, oh, this guy's putting up great stats, but we're playing against the Big 12. Every quarterback's putting up big stats. Charlie Brewer, Jalen Hurts are all putting up crazy numbers. And I don't know, it's tough. Texas loves glorifying him. They love putting all the hate on Tom Herman on that defense, but I feel like we might need to move on from quarterback and fix that defense. But if we want to win a championship, I feel like,
Agree.
yeah, definitely move on from Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, like what you said, they literally posted a screensaver of him the day after throwing 4 picks on the Texas Twitter. Like he had the worst game of his career, and they're like, "Hey, like let's make a screensaver and let's post it on our Twitter and like make everyone have Sam Ellinger like wallpapers on their phones." Like that's just so dumb.
Even after the game, Tom Herman said 3 of those 4 interceptions weren't Sam's fault, but you
That's a
have to
lie.
start giving him blame sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't throw 3 picks and it not be your fault.
you got to hold the starting quarterback accountable, just
For
like you
sure.
hold the best player on your basketball team accountable. So yeah, I kind of want to talk about mine a little bit. This is something that I've been on for a long time. So I believe that the NBA needs to get rid of Eastern and Western Conference playoff like standings, like 1 through 8, 1 through 8. I think that there just needs to be a 16 seed NBA playoffs where the best 16 teams in the league makes the playoffs, and you format it 1 plays 16, 2 plays 15, 3 plays 14, etc. Because right now in the NBA, and really for a long time, but especially this year, the East and West is not even at all. The West is so much better than the East. It is laughable how much better they are. Um, All the superstars play in the West. Almost all of them. The only ones in the East I'd say is Embiid, Kyrie, and Giannis. Every other superstar is in the West. It is not fair to teams in the West who play against those top level competition and just aren't as good to make that 8 seed, but they would definitely make that 8 seed in the East. Like I think teams like the Kings and Pelicans, had they have been in the East, they could have made the playoffs, but because they're in the West, they cannot. I think it's just unfair, and I think it would just be it'd be more fun to watch that. I would love to see an East and a West team play each other in the playoffs rather than hopefully that's the finals matchup. I just think it's more entertaining, and I understand the travel situation, but at the same time, it's like
Is it really that
they're
big of a
getting
deal?
paid millions.
Yeah.
They can-
Is it? Yeah. I don't know.
So yeah,